it's Diane with Shawcraft One and my old barn door, and I am working in my daughter-in-law, or my future daughter-in-law's wedding journal. Her name is Haley, so from this point forward I'll probably just call it Haley's journal. um, but I've already got it put together, and I'll do a final flip through when I finish, but I wanted it to be, of course, a billowing journal, and it has lots of luscious laces and trims and all kinds of goodies billowing out of it. I'm making multiples, not of this particular one, but similar. So I have some that are going to be, a little bit smaller, and then I have this one, which will be another actual wedding journal. Now, of course, the covers are not even anywhere near finished yet. I've just got the signatures sewn into the journal, and so I'm ready to make some ephemera for these journals. And so I thought I would bring you along and let's play a little bit. I don't think I'm going to do like a whole series on it because I want to, I've got farm journals coming up and I'm excited to get to those. So I want to get these done so that I can get to the farm journals, because I want to do some farm journals, I want to do some fall journals and all of that fun stuff. So I am just ready for some farm journals. So I just kind of wanted to, show you the books and let you know that they're coming. They will be available soon. But I did want to do a few things with y'all. So let me just move these out of the way. Just scoot them over. And I wanted to show you some of the tags and things. This is some of the ephemera that I'm making for not just Haley's journal, but the other journals that will go into the shop. And so I thought it would be fun to do some collaging together. And because this is a little bit of a different style of collage for me. For today, I'd like to work on this tag and this tag. And what I want to do is kind of show you a different way to collage, number one, but also a way that you can make mass tags out of your scraps, collaging them, but in a different style. So that's what we're going to do in the video today. So I'm going to scoop these over out of the way. I'm not going to go through all of these. I'll eventually show you everything, but for today, we're just going to work on this one. And actually, I think we may work on two if we have time. So I just kind of want to take my scraps and let's make something pretty for the journals. So I've gone ahead and gotten some things together to try and make some of these. But what I want to do is kind of show you, a lot of times, we make tags and things, and we have so many scraps. And so it's like when you make things like this, you add more scraps. You tend to wind up with more scraps. Like, I have a ton of scraps right now. So I thought, we could try and use up some of those scraps and some of our music pages and our book pages, because if you're like me, you have a ton of these in your craft room. So, like, this is a book page, this is a music page, this is some vintage ledger. It's very vintage. It's from the early 1900s. These are some recipe pages, and then this is some of those pages from that little college course book that I showed you from. It's vintage. I think it's from the early 80s. So we're going to make a couple of tags today. This is really not, I wouldn't call this a tag. I would call it a collage. But we'll go through and make some of these, and maybe in the next video, because I'm going to do a few videos like these, so that I can kind of show you some different ways to be able to use up your scraps and things like that. So let's start with this one. So I have went ahead, I will give you a tip. A lot of times I get overwhelmed when I go to my scrap box, because that thing is huge. It's bigger than this mat, or well, it's probably as wide as this mat, but it's maybe a little longer. And it is just absolutely full of scraps. I've got floral scraps, I've got farm scraps, I've got neutral scraps, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, so the easiest thing that I have found to do to kind of organize my scraps a little is like this little plate here. I've just kind of been putting like from making this tag and you know, this one and all of this, I have accumulated these scraps along with quite a few others. Actually, I have, well, I'll show you. I've got a whole tray of scraps, and I have actually 2 trays like this of scraps. Really not 2 trays, but like some of them are just, you know, I've kind of separated them out into like, these are my neutral pages, but all different kinds of pages, like ledger paper, recipe papers, Edith Holden papers, music papers, the bigger music papers, you know, so just different things like that. So anyways, it makes it easy if you organize your scraps before you start doing this, because when I first started doing this, my scraps literally were all over this desk. Like, I couldn't hardly move on this desk. It was ridiculous. So before I decided that before I do these videos, I was going to organize it a little and get it to a point to where I could find things better. And this is not even all of my scraps. I still have that big tub that's full of scraps, and it's probably, you know, that tall. So I have lots of scraps to go through. So I thought this would be a good way to get me started. So I've gone ahead and what I did was I just pulled out a few things from those 2 trays. And then a little basket of, like, I have this little basket of fabric scraps that I have sitting on my desk. And so I pulled a couple of pieces of that. You know, I've got these and then a few of the paper scraps. Because it's easier to work from a smaller tray like this than it is to try and work from that big, huge tray. So just a little tip for you: when you get ready to start doing your collage and playing in your scraps, just grab a few at a time, because you tend to, if you grab all of your scraps at once, you tend to get a little bit overwhelmed, and you really, it's really hard to figure out, okay, where do I start? You know what I'm saying? So anyways, so enough chitter chatter. Let's get started. So we're going to make a tag like this to start out. So I have a base here, and I don't really even use a trimmer for these. I like the torn edge look, and I don't know if you can see here, you know, the edge of the tag. Let me just pull it up here a little. You know, I think I'm going to try and turn these these lights off and see if that's maybe better. Yeah, so see, you kind of have the torn edge. You can use your decal edge trimmer. I use it a lot. Or you can just use your tear ruler. And I use that a lot too. So basically, let's see, this tag is 1, 2, 3. It's 3.5 inches wide. So we're just going to tear this one 3.5 inches wide. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to tear this side first. Because I like I say, I like that torn edge look. So I'm going to go ahead and tear this side. Hopefully y'all can see okay. It's hard to get up and down to check the camera. So I'm just going to tear all the way down this side of this paper. And you know, before I did that, I probably should have checked the width, because it might have been wide enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. I think it is. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this way. No, no, I don't want to do that. I want it to be a little bit longer than, I was going to do the tag this way, but I want it to be longer than that because this one's longer than that. See, it wouldn't be long enough, so we'll just do it this way. All right, so we're going to make a 3.5 inch tag. 1, 2, 3.5. So I'm just going to rip it at a half. Okay, and what I did also is I separated out my solid color scraps from the rest of my scraps, and that way I can just grab, you know, some of these scraps to make tags and things like that with, or use them as a base. Okay, so now I think I want to make this 6 inches long because I think that's how long this one is. You know what, let's just use this to measure. How about that? Okay, all right, so let me move that one out of the way. I'm hoping I'm in frame. And then I'm just going to tear. It's a little bit harder to tear the cardstock. This is just a cream colored cardstock, and it's a little bit harder to tear it with the plastic tear rulers. Sometimes they tear better with a metal ruler. Oh, here, I'll show you. Like I have this long, straight metal ruler, and it's not a tear ruler, but it does make it a little bit easier to tear the cardstock. Now I'm just going to go to about 1/4 inch because it's a little easier when you've got enough to grab a hold of. So we're just going to tear it. See how much easier it is to tear it with that metal edge. So I'd like to get some of the metal tear rulers because I think they might work better than the plastic ones, but they're pretty pricey, so I will eventually get some, but for now I'll make do with the plastic ones. Alright, so now we have our tag base. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this my prototype because I've made prototypes for me to be able to look at and go by. So if you want to do that, that would make it a little easier for you. Alright, so I think I'm going to zoom in a little so you can see a little better. Sorry, I hope I didn't make you dizzy when I did that. Okay, but that way maybe you can see a little better. Let me just find out where I need to go to or stop so that I can make sure that I'm in frame. Okay, so I've got my lines that kind of guides me. All right, so I'm just going to kind of sit this one to the side, and then I'm going to pull my tray of scraps over. I don't know if y'all can see them or not. You can probably see the edge of them. So we'll pull this over, and then, so I need a ledger piece. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get my measure piece, and I'm just going to kind of look at this one and try to recreate it, and see what we get, because I think that if you do it this way and use different items, you of course would get a different looking tag, but I'm going to try and recreate this one specifically. Okay, so I'm going to tear that down that way, and then we're going to turn it this way, and I think I'm going to go about to here and tear. So when I say this is a different kind of collage or a different way of collaging, what I mean is, normally when I do collage for tags and things like that, normally I'll get like a big roll of paper, or I will take, several of these book pages out and line them up across my mat, and then I'll just start gluing papers down to them. This is a more focused type of collage, so you're just kind of focusing on the one thing. You're focusing on making it a tag, so it's a little bit more personalized, I guess is kind of the word I'm looking for. So I'm going to pull out my glue book here, and I'm going to go ahead and just start gluing things down. Ooh, I kind of like that side better. Maybe I should use that side. That's a prettier side, and it's got the date on it. Let's use that side. Okay, that decision was made. I hope you guys enjoyed the Farm Journal series. I actually finally, it took me a little bit of time to get into it, but once I did get into it, it kind of came together for me, and it wound up being a billowing farm journal. But I had such a good time making it, and it was almost like I was blessed for it to just fall together. Like it just came together so well for me, and so that made it a little easier. Alright, so we're going to glue him down here in the corner, just like so. And then I need a piece of, this is a embossed piece. I don't know if y'all can see that very well or not. Can you see the embossing on there? You can if I hold it up close and hit the light right. It's a really lightly embossed piece, but for this one I want a little bit more embossing. So let's see if I have a piece of embossed here. There's one. Okay, so let's use this one. Okay, so we'll just line it up like right here. And I'm just going to tear down that way. Now for the embossed paper, you're probably going to want to use a wet glue. I mean, you can use the glue stick, but if you're going to use a glue stick for the embossed paper, I would suggest using the Uhu glue. I use this little cheap glue on the pieces that are just going to go on flat because it really, you know, it's not something difficult for that glue to hold down. But this, with the raised paper and the embossing, you'll want a better glue stick, okay? But before I glue this down, I'm looking at this tag, and I see that this piece is underneath my embossed piece. So I'm going to find that piece, or a piece similar. Let's see. I think I had a piece of that in here, in my little tray here. And you see what I'm saying? I mean, if you are going to make some of these, you'll definitely want to. Okay, here's no, that's not that. I may not have put a piece of that in here. You know what? I've got a piece of it right here. Hang on, let me see. Okay, here's one. I don't know what I did with the other piece, but here we go. Sorry guys, hope y'all are having a good day. Today is actually Friday, and I released the Christmas farm, or the farm Christmas journal this morning. So these videos I'm kind of pre-recording for next week because it takes me so long to upload them to YouTube with the internet service that we have here. So I have to kind of pre-record a lot since we've moved in here. So, okay, I'm going to scoot this over, and I'm just going to take my tear ruler, and I'm going to get rid of some of this white edge here. So I'm just going to tear down through here. And I'm going to throw that away, because if you save every little teeny tiny piece, you can use them, but it will take you forever, and your scrap box will start looking like mine. And you don't want that. Okay. So now I'm just going to tear a piece, maybe about that wide. Okay, and then I'm gonna take off this edge because I don't really need that edge. And then I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it on this tag. Yeah, that works perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take my tear ruler, I'm just going to turn my tag sideways, and then I'm going to take my tear ruler, and this does not have to be precise or perfect by any means, so you can just rip and tear however you need to. Okay, so I have that piece, so I think I can probably glue both of these down now that, that I have the piece that's going to go under this piece. So let's go ahead and put some glue on this one. And again, I don't mind using this little, you know, the little cheap Elmer's glue. If it's something that's going to lay pretty flat, it doesn't really matter because it'll hold it down. Like so. And then I'm going to take my wet glue for the embossed piece. And this is that reptile glue. It's very similar to the art glitter glue, but to me I like it better because it comes out of the bottle easier. It doesn't get clogged up as bad as art glitter glue, and it holds just as good, maybe even better than the art glitter glue. So if you're looking for some of that, you can find the link in the description box below for that. Okay, so we're just going to add him to this corner right here. And of course, I'm always the one to put way too much glue, so I always have to wipe it off. This is just, it's a wet wipe that I've let dry so that, you know, I don't want to wet my paper, but it's a little more sturdy than paper towels sometimes. Okay, so now we need a piece of the recipe page. So I have that here, and we can, I'm just trying to decide, I think I like this handwriting better. So let's just tear a piece of this out. Okay. We don't need a super huge big piece of this one, so we'll just go this way. And then I'm going to, I don't want this white edge. Well, yeah, let's get rid of the white edge. We'll throw that piece away. And then I'm just going to tear a piece about that wide. It doesn't have to be, you know, exactly identical. I'm just eyeballing everything. Okay, and so it will go here, but before I can put this down, I need to find a piece like this. I think I put a piece like this in here. Yep, there we go. Okay. So, okay, so this one's a little bit too big, so we'll just tear it down. I'm thinking we can probably tear a pretty good bit of this. Let's take it on down to here. Okay, now I will save this piece. I will put it in my little bowl because we can come back and we can do lots of fun things with this little plate of goodness there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tear the edges around all the sides. Again, you don't have to do that. I just like the look of it. And again, you can use your tear ruler or you can use your decollage trimmer. Whichever one is easiest for you to do. Like, see with this one, it might be easier with the decollage trimmer because I'm having a hard time grabbing it. And the reason I'm tearing it like this instead of tearing it the other way, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But do you see how, if I can get it to focus, you see how when you tear towards the center, you get this little raised edge? I like that raised edge. I like the look of it. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. You don't get that with the decollage trimmer, but for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and just slide this into the decollage trimmer here so that we can at least get the torn look. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side as well. Like so. Okay, so we have this piece here. I'm trying to see, I think the recipe piece lays on top of both of these. So we'll put this one down first. I think I want to go, I don't guess it really matters which way I go with it. Just put it down on the tag die-in. I think I started talking about something a minute ago and I completely lost my train of thought, which has been quite the norm for me recently. Poor Laura, my sweet friend Laura, she's Laughing Dog's Footnote, and she's been trying to have a chat with me for a week, and I kept forgetting to text her. I tell you, do y'all get brain fog? Because I get brain fog so bad, it's ridiculous. Like, sometimes I feel like a complete raving, what do you call it, a stark raving lunatic. Not really, but sometimes I feel like such a dork because it's like I can't remember anything. Okay, So we have that there, and then we need a piece of the music paper. So let's see if we can find a piece of the music paper. Oh, there's a piece. Let's use this one. And basically I just want it to kind of go in the center right here. So it doesn't have to be, you know, perfect or anything. But I think I like this piece. And I kind of want it to be a little wide. So I'm going to tear this piece here. That can go in our little tray. And then I'm going to tear this piece here. And it can go in our little tray as well. And then this piece can just kind of go right across here. And you can take it up or down, or, you know, however you want to, because it's not going to be an exact duplicate. It's, you know, it's just not. You have different papers that you're using. You have different sizes of paper that you're using. But it's just kind of to give you some ideas, you know, of different collage techniques or ways that you can collage. Because I've had a lot of ladies who tell me, you know, that they struggle with collaging. So I thought this might be a fun thing to do, just to kind of show you that it's not really, it doesn't have to be difficult. It can just be very easy. You don't have to have a bunch of fancy papers. You can just use your book pages and your recipe pages and your music pages. And I'm sure you've got, you know, something. Hey, if you don't have any colored paper or any kind of scrapbook paper laying around, look at your magazines and see if you can find some colors in your magazines. You know, you might could use something like that. Okay, so now that we have the tag complete, well, I say we've got the collaging complete. So I'm going to go ahead and close up my glue stick for now so that we can do the top. So now we need to just trim our little edge for our tag. And then I'm just going to take this, if I can get my fingers on it, over to this side and use it as a template so that we get the same amount and our tag doesn't look wonky. Okay, so now we've got that cut, and then we need some, you know, some lace or some fabric or something to top it off with. So let's see. I did pull some fabrics and laces. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so, you know, I don't have the exact topper because I'm telling you, I have so much scraps that it's not even funny. I have this whole jar of lace scraps and trims, laces and trims, and I have two more jars like it, and they're not as tall or not as big, but very similar. So you know, I'm just going to pull from that to top my tags with. So we could do something like this at the top, or we could do something like this at the top. I kind of like the eyelet better. Let's do the eyelet. Okay. So I'm going to take my pinking shears. Since this side is cut with the pinking shears, I kind of want it to match. So I'm just going to cut a piece off of there. Okay, so we'll lay that there. And then, let's see. I don't want to use that because it's white on white. So we need something with some color. Okay, so I have this. Oh, you know what I could do? Because I like the edge of this, let's just fray it a little better. This is just the selvage edge of some fabric, you know, so you don't have to have anything fancy to do this. Alright, so I'm just going to cut just a little piece to maybe go right there. I'm going to cut and tear so that I can try and get that side frayed too. Let me see if I can get it done the right way. There we go. Okay, so we could lay that there, and then we'll put a piece with some color. Like, this is just the tiniest fabric scrap, but this is some very vintage fabric, and I wanted to put as much vintage goodies in these journals as I could. So look how cute that is. Now you can either stitch it on or you can glue it on. I'm going to glue it on just to kind of show you how simple and easy these tags are to make, that you can stitch it if you prefer to stitch it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put glue just right across the top of the tag here. Okay, and we'll lay our eyelet down into it, just like so. And then I'm going to put a little bit more glue. You don't have to put a lot. You know, you want enough for it to keep a hold of it. And I'm going to put a little bit more underneath there since I'm going to have a fabric laying on top. Okay, so now we can put our selvage edge right there like that. Whoops, y'all see what I did? I boo-booed. Let's just see if we can put this glue right across here to put that fabric. I've got a volcano going here. Let's put the lid on that sucker. He's being bad today. Bad glue. Okay, so then we can put this piece right here, and you have a tag. And it doesn't look exactly like it, but it's very similar, you know, and it's a great little example for you to use to be able to help you to collage. And if you don't have any like this and you want to learn how to collage, pause the video. Pause the video while I'm holding the tag here where you can see it good. Let me hold it down. Okay, let me just sit it on there. But if you pause the video, then you can use these as an example to go by, and you can create your own collage tags. Okay? Alright, so I think, let me see where we're at on our, oh goodness, I've ran my mouth too much. So we'll come back in another video and do some more of these collages because we're going to do some different things. So this is a different way to do more of a focused collaging versus, you know, just gluing down a bunch of paper to, you know, a book page or a paper bag or whatever, and then cutting it up into a tag. This is just a little bit of a different idea and a different way to collage. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, even though you're not going to see this till next week. I hope you have a wonderful week too, and leave any comments or questions that you have in the comment box below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for me if you will. Big hugs.